Alrighty guys, hello and welcome to Chair League. I am Jason, your host for this Division 1 match, Mortal Esports versus Calamity. And already coming out with the two most obvious bans right off the bat for these two teams, Murky, which is of course our proxy for Zarya, and Malfurion. So the two mostly believed to be most broken heroes in the game right now, instantly going to be thrown out of this match. And we're going to start it off pretty even with Li Ming. So Li Ming, not a bad first pick on this map. I think that Li Ming has fallen off a little bit from where she used to be really, really high priority. But on this map, she's got a particularly good... she can do a particularly good job of poking around those tribute areas, so she can get a lot of extra value in that way. So not hugely surprised on that. well, thank you, puppy. That's very, very nice of you. Special shout out to puppy over there for the encouragement. But we do have Falstad coming out from Calamity, so another really, really strong hero for the side of another really strong hero on this map as far as poking. The big thing with Falstad though is as good as he is at being able to get the interrupt and the harass in on those tributes, he's also got the global presence. Speaking of global presence, here comes ETC. Stage dive has been an option that a lot of people have been going with lately in competitive 5v5 play. However, Mosh Pit always still an option, so you always got to look out for that possible mosh. But with Li Ming, that wave of force already one possible counter. So it's hard to think that this is not a simply an ETC stage dive pick, which I think, global presence is so very important on this map. Wouldn't be surprised to see somebody prioritize Brightwing here with Malfurion off the table, but Ariel also pretty strong healer for this map in terms of the ability to sustain. Muradin will be the pickup here for Mortal Esports. Good at being able to get in there, get those interrupts, and be able to dwarf toss his way on out when he starts to take too much heat. So good solid pickup. And indeed, it is going to be an Ariel pickup for the side of Mortal Esports, who likely will try to apply that healer chokehold here going into this second ban phase. But the tank already picked up here from Mortal Esports, and the damage, so anything that Calamity has, they already have. So we'll have to see what ban Calamity wants to come out with here. No obvious chokeholds to be able to apply, unless they want to try and go for maybe a specialist in this next phase. I think more and more often here on Cursed, we're seeing less priority on those specialists, which is not a big surprise. I think that overall with the Curse, you can get a lot done. But indeed, the Lost Vikings are going to be the ban out here. Calamity not wanting to deal with possibly the most difficult hero to both play and go up against. So we are going to see that ban coming out from Calamity. Not a big surprise. The Lost Vikings are sort of countered a little bit by globals, which it seems like Calamity is already building towards, but we'll have to see where the rest of their draft takes them. Certainly the Lost Vikings, not something you want to play against a Li Ming if you can avoid it. If you ever bring those Vikings into a team fight, you're looking at Reset City. So Zagara going to be the ban out for Mortal Esports. So indeed, both teams choosing to go ahead and focus on the specialists a little bit for this ban phase. Not a big shocker. I think that each team might have their idea of what specialist they want in the back end of this draft, if they even want to pick one. There's so much team fighting in this map and so much PvE. You almost don't need to have a strong lane push. It doesn't hurt to have a good split soaker, but ultimately you have to be able to commit teams. You have to be able to commit your entire team to team fighting on this map. And so a lot of teams just go with straight out map map fighting, or team fighting I should say, and not so much map control. Thrall going to be the pickup here for Calamity. So again, going with that strong front line, going with good solid denial potential. Thrall is a very popular pick here on Cursed Hollow because of that chain lightning. He can both do a lot of frontline damage. He can be a good solid frontline presence with good sustain, but he can also poke from a distance. That there's nothing There's nothing more annoying than getting hit by that chain lightning right at the last second. And Lunara is going to be the other pickup here for Calamity. So choosing to save that healer pick till the very last moment here, completely revealing what their comp is going to be like here. I don't know. It's going to give Mortal Esports a chance to be able to see what they want to do against their team and counter it, because we know Calamity's got to pick up that healer for that 5th spot. However, Thrall and Unara are definitely 2 really strong hero picks on this map, so I can see where they're coming from, and wanted to make sure that Mortal Esports does not get that. Also, Lunara, very good at being able to spread out damage, but that's kind of where Ariel shines. You know, when you have a team that is good at coordinating and good at being able to stack for those heals and then unstack quickly, you can deal with a lot of that spread Lunara poison damage. But ultimately, between Falstad, Thrall, and Lunara, that's a very scary amount of damage coming in your face, with Falstad being able to go more of his mage build. If he chooses to, he can get a decent amount of burst damage out. We'll have to see if Ariel can deal with it. They do already have Li Ming, who's very good at feeding Ariel, and Alarak also not too bad at it. Good solid frontline presence, good dive potential. Also being able to silence in a lot of those big fights in those small corridors, making it a little bit easier for him to hit those abilities as he goes. Pretty strong pickup. We've seen a lot of solid Alarak play. So we'll have to see how Mortal Esports does it here. And it is going to be a Greymane pickup here for Mortal Esports. So yet another hero that's pretty good at poking out and denying. Also good at jumping in. Full reset build coming out here for the side of Mortal Esports. So they're going to be looking to get that first kill, looking to get those resets. Thrall is usually a victim of that in those fights, when you can have an Alarak, Li Ming, and Greymane all focusing in on that Thrall in that front line. I'm a little bit worried for Calamity. They're going to have to be very careful, and they're going to go with the Rhaegar, who, in my opinion right now, he's just not as strong as Ariel and a lot of these other healers. I feel like he's slowly but surely fallen his way to the lower part of the tiers for healing. But one thing I will say is those clutch Ancestrals can be a really, really big deal in terms of actually trying to save somebody that's getting bursted down by Li Ming, Greymane, and Alarak. So if the Rhaegar player over on the side of Calamity can be patient enough to stay back and get that job done, could be a good thing for them. They could end up pulling out something here. So we are, the murky band coming out in full Phantom. I'll tell you, it's actually the murky is the proxy for Zarya. So nobody wanting to play against Zarya in this early stages of her being a thing. I think they're waiting for that nerf, that nerf that we all know is coming, to a lot of that damage she can deal. Man, she gets in with those shields and it's just lights out, seems like. But I do really like Mortal Esports draft here. I think, first of all, they've got the superior healer. Muradin and ETC, I feel like they go pretty even for that frontline tank and frontline bruiser. Right now I feel like Alarak is a little bit better overall than Thrall, but he's also not quite as good on the map. I think I like the Thrall pick for the map pick, but like I said, Calamity's going to have to be very, very patient here. And poking this out and stalling, maybe getting a little bit of an advantage out of their global hero with Falstad on the back end. I think that could be a pretty big factor here in being able to split push a little bit, maybe get a little bit more of an advantage XP-wise. Maybe not be too overly aggressive here about getting those first couple of tributes. I think could be a factor. But we'll see. We are going ahead and loading in here to Cursed Hollow Division 1 Mortal Esports versus Calamity. Should be a pretty good show that these guys are going to put on for us. Division 1, always some pretty high-class, high-quality play. And both of these teams have pretty solid comps in general. Like I said, we'll have to see who can stick to their guns a little bit better. I feel like we're going to see Mortal Esports being a little bit more aggressive with the comp that they've built. Meanwhile, more of a poke patience comp with Calamity. So we'll see how it goes here. Cursed Hollow, one of our favorite maps here in Heroes of the Storm. Got to get them curses and got to get those potato computers running. Like we're waiting on Wreck one over there. And there we go, into Cursed Hollow. On the left, your blue team, it is going to be Mortal Esports with Phantom Palin on Li Ming. Planin? Pylon Planin. There we go. Python? I can't read today. Rich on Muradin, Spartan Illum on Greymane, Jonicles on Ariel, and Wreck one on Alarak. On the right, your red team is going to be Calamity. It is going to be Calypso on Thrall, Tsumi on Falstad, Bruno on ETC, Heartbreaker on Rhaegar, and Darain, that's what I'm going to go with, on Lunara. Apologize for my inability to pronounce anything. So right away, we're going to see both teams with completely different priorities here. Immediately going to the mid here is the side of Calamity, but realizing that that is not going to be what Mortal Esports is all about, they're going to go ahead and back out, grab their vision, start to get out to lane. Right away, we see a couple members top, one member bottom here that's going to go ahead and passively soak, see if they can't get a little bit of an advantage out of that. But we will see the side of Calamity getting in here in time. Runeworm actually going to have to go ahead and push himself out of harm's way there, as the collapse coming in. 3-person rotation here for the side of Calamity. They are going to be able to push into this a little bit. And we're actually going to see Heartbreaker start with just that. However, the rotation coming in from Mortal Esports. Rich gets onto Heartbreaker real quick. And right away, nice response there to be able to put a lot of pressure down onto Rich so he couldn't stay in there and zone too much. I'm going to go with Python for our Li Ming. A nice solid job of getting some damage out there. And again, hitting big on that orb combo. Right away, these teams putting some damage out on each other. And that pressure, but nothing that Heartbreaker can't handle here. Getting some nice heals out, being able to sustain. And they are going to continue to leave 3 in this mid. Meanwhile, in the top, we do see a little bit of a collapse there. But ultimately, just 2 members pressuring this top. They're going to get a little bit of work done up here. Calypso will be able to slowly but surely deny that, though. Getting the minions down at least. Actually going to get some nice damage out on Jonicles. Get that pressure out. We see the instant rotation. Man, as soon as these are up, we see Heartbreaker and Tsukami up here. Just immediately going to this siege camp. Not wasting any time. They want to put some serious pressure here on bottom. But we see on the other side, Spartan Aluminum going ahead and getting that done pretty much solo. A little help from Li Ming, but both teams going to go ahead and pop these nice and early. Get them out in lane in plenty of time for this first tribute phase to come up. Both teams very solid on the soak so far. Neither team getting too far out and getting picked. Just as I say that, Wreckworm and Durain going back at each other, going back and forth here. So 2 members down here in bottom. It does look like they might end up actually leaving Wreckworm, but Ariel going down in that midsection there. Oh, no, actually in the top she got picked. Okay, so right away a little bit of a rotational advantage here, and oh, Python caught completely out here on Li Ming. No way the volleyball wonder is going to get away from that one. They spiked her right into that wall. Just a little bit of a slow rotation there from Mortal Esports. Not having Ariel, should have decided to back off that a little bit quicker. Again, Python getting a little bit overly aggressive there. We'll be coming back in though, and nice progress here by Doreen. Actually, I don't know. I'm so bad with names. Terrible. I'm gonna work on that. But let's just go with Lunara for now. Getting some solid work down there on the bottom lane. Gonna get that entire front wall with that siege camp. Meanwhile, on the other side, Mortal Esports not getting as much out of it. A little bit of a collapse here on Bruno, but he's ETC. He's gonna be fine. I'm gonna go ahead and cap that night camp there. Very nice job by them. Calypso should be here in time, but it's actually gonna be Tsukami is actually gonna get in there for that interrupt Will they get a second one, though? Let's look like Spartan is going to go ahead and get that cast off. So a little bit of a misplay here from Calamity. They do go ahead and collapse 4, but they aren't able to get in there and get that interrupt. Not posturing up for it enough. Nice zoning there from Mortal Esports. So that is going to be... Oh, Bruno is going to go ahead and be able to dodge those Li Ming abilities, being nice and patient on the retreat. They're actually going to turn this on Rich a little bit. The return damage coming in, though, from Python. Going to be able to do a nice job of zoning a little bit there. Meanwhile, Wreckworm actually scouting it out with that, with that ability, moving him out a little bit, but is able to back out of that. But Bruno not going to be so lucky, gets collapsed on, and the reset coming in there also for Python. All of a sudden, we see Calamity on the run here. They're going to have to give this up. Rhaegar also going down at the same time, so that's really rough here for the side of Calamity. I don't know if they can realistically do this, and it does look like they're at least going to give it a shot, but a nice, solid whip in there from Jonicles to be able to lock down, Falstad. No such luck there, and we're going to see an immediate rotation to boss here from Mortal Esports. Very aggressive, but they realize that all the members of Calamity are going to want to get back out into the lane. They do not have Falstad, and it's going to be a nice capture here for Mortal Esports, where it seemed like Calamity was doing a nice job of being able to control the map. They've got a bit of an XP lead here, but this boss is going to be a big grab in the bottom with this next tribute, I believe, spawning top, I want to say. Thinking right there, if I had to guess. But we will see a nice cap on the bottom also, though, for the Siege Giants. The Siege Giants do a nice job of being able to help take down that boss. Meanwhile, the Night Camp is going to go ahead and be picked up by Mortal Esports. They should have time to get 10 here before this next tribute phase, which is going to be a really big deal. They can't compete for this tribute without it. So really nice job of cleaning up the boss, only getting a little bit of that front wall in the bottom. So nice response here. Meanwhile, Bruno being caught out yet again. Calamity in a lot of trouble here. Nice 4-man collapse there from Mortal Esports. The huge rotation, and what was going to be a little bit of an advantage for that boss in the bottom gets completely turned around, as Calamity is actually going to be able to turn that around and get the boss down and get the siege camp going. However, the curse is going to be picked up by Mortal Esports because of that rotation. Without ETC, they aren't going to actually be able to get this done. We do see the ults are coming out here, though. Stage Dive picked up by ETC. We do see Wave of Force coming out from Li Ming with that Calamity build they're starting to build. And we do also see Counter-Strike coming in. So we're not going to see the big charges here from Alarak. We're instead going to see a little bit more of a shockwave damage back kind of thing going on for him. I haven't seen that a whole lot yet, but we do see Lunar getting caught out just a tiny bit, but going to be able to prance away from that situation. Meanwhile, Tsukami, I'm going to get it eventually, doing a nice job of being able to counter push. Actually gets that fort in the bottom lane. However, a huge collapse coming in here. Here comes the Gust coming in from the top lane there. We will see the Stage Dive, though, is going to finish off a lot of that. Getting a ton of extra damage out. That is going to be a 4 for nothing, and Python is on the run here. And I don't know if he's going to be able to get away. The dismount comes in, and they are going to actually back off. They're going to call everybody up to boss here, I do believe, which makes a lot of sense. We're actually going to see the Falstad B, as his fly should be up any time to come help with this boss or go anywhere they want on the map. So nice solid response there from Calamity. They lose the curse, they lose that mid fort, but they don't lose a whole lot else. Of course, a little bit of damage to that top lane, but that four-man wipe there, very, very nice on their side. They were able to get a nice solid response, and really negating a lot of what that curse was supposed to give over to Mortal Esports. Setting up a little bit of a gank attempt here is Mortal Esports. Looking for that bush meta yet again. They're going to catch Bruno out a little bit, but this time he's got the support he needs to go ahead and survive this situation. Thrall does still have Sundering up, so could see a little bit of an engage. Here they come. The Sundering does indeed come out. And nice Aegis there to be able to save Spartan from that boss grab. However, we do see the fort at least going down. That is the UI bug. Nobody did die in that situation. So nice job from Ariel, because Spartan was a dead man in on that boss in the middle of that slam without that Aegis. So gotta give the healer love when the supports make the big plays there. Clutch Aegis. We will, however, see Calamity going ahead and backing up and picking up their camps yet again, applying that map pressure. They have been all about the PvE this game, doing a nice solid job of controlling a lot of the map in that way, keeping it even. They're actually up a fort at this point. Not to mention up level and a half at this point to go along with it, so they're doing a nice job of soaking. Mortal Esports has been doing a nice job of rotating so far and catching picks here and there, but a big team fight win, definitely the difference so far in this match. We will see the tribute phase is back. We are done with that first curse, and so the tributes are going to start spawning regularly once again. And this one is going to be at a favorable position here for Calamity. Python getting a little bit out there, but a nice teleport to be able to dodge that slide in from Bruno. The Dwarf Toss coming in here from Rich. He's going deep already into this team. You got to look out with all the... Oh, but Lunar going ham in there on Li Ming. That's not going to work out, though, as the heal's coming out from Ariel in full. Greymane is going to be the first to fall here, however. The stage dive coming into zone a little bit. Rich getting completely caught out in the middle of that team fight. And the chase is on here. They're going to start by going for Requiem, and they're going to get him. And we'll see a couple members trying to get out here. Can they get out, though? Look at the damage coming down on Jonicle. Is going to be completely caught out. Zoned a little bit there for Python. And at least try and get one member away. But yet again, that is going to be a 4-0 for the side of Calamity. Very nice play coming out from them as they're going to go ahead and rotate straight to boss. Well, it looks like they were thinking about it. They were thinking about that boss play, but it looks like they're going to think better of it. Short death timers at this time, and a lot of members pretty low on health, kind of low on mana, so they are going to go ahead and back up. Meanwhile, Mortal Esports licking their wounds a little bit. They are down the 16 talent tier, so I don't think they want to be too overly aggressive here. Going to go ahead and pick up their night camp and start the soaking battle. I'm going to scout out where that wisp was. We'll have to see if that prompts a response here from Calamity. We don't actually see the full rotation here, and they can see Ariel getting that that vision. But, oh, the rotation coming in here. It does look like they're going to go ahead and steal the siege camp, but Mortal Esports wisely backing out at this point. Actually, yeah, they're going to forget. They're going to forget about it. Go ahead and rotate straight to this. Oh, they're going to get Rich out, though. Nice Crystal Aegis to be able to zone out for a little bit. Meanwhile, Li Ming in the bottom there is going to go ahead and maybe be able to pick that up. No, the stage dive! Getting in just in time to be able to interrupt that. Meanwhile, Bruno going completely ham here, and here comes Volstad to finish up that kill. Nice rotation. And now they're going to go boss. No Li Ming. Their first death out on Pylon. Or no, I believe that's second death, actually. But yeah, they're going to go straight to boss. They're not even going to bother collecting the tribute at this point. We will see the rotation in here from Requiem. They do scout this out, but not a whole lot that they could do about it. Bruno even trying to get in there and get to Requiem there. Going to be just far enough away to be safe. But they are going to go ahead and cap Curse here. They've got a little bit of a push going in the mid here with that night camp to have to deal with. But they're going to go full on ham in for this camp. Bruno getting a little bit too far out there, sliding through that wall. However, not enough damage, focused damage coming out to be able to really punish him for it. Meanwhile, we do see the Sunder has been burned in there. Stage dive is right around the corner. But all the other ults pretty much in play here. We do see the silence coming out onto ETC, but here comes the Falstad fly-in. Is going to actually have to barrel roll out of that situation. In a little bit too deep with all that CC and that turnaround. Mortal Esports saw it coming, but they do not have the 16 tier yet. There it is. Now I feel like they can really fight it. if they choose to, but instead they're going to go ahead and turn around, take care of this boss before it eats out all those shields and gets rid of a little bit of that core health. So we will see that rotation to that mid fort. Going to get a little bit more of an advantage here is the side of Calamity there. Happy with getting that keep. Not going to get too overly aggressive here. Especially, again, their opponent's got that 16 talents here. This is where they want to be able to pick a fight if they can find a favorable one. We will see Falstad flying to the top there. And the scouting ETC is on, trying to figure out where Mortal Esports is going. It does look like they're rotating up here to try and see if they can catch this boss. They will see the cap there on the bottom, so they realize that not everyone's here. Mortal Esports with these aggressive rotations. They are going to go ahead and be scouted out here, but is Thrall going to get in trouble? Calypso getting caught out a little bit there. But we will see they are caught in this corridor, and indeed the Ancestral will come out. Rich isolated, will get that Aegis and be able to hop over the wall to get out there. Oh, but Lunara making a nice play. Ancestral not in time to be able to save Thrall. However, I don't think that's going to matter too much here, as the side of Calamity is going full ham here. They are going to go ahead and get a 3-for-1 exchange, and they are not done. Python in abject horror here. Gonna get, oh! It's gonna actually get the kill out on Lunara! Wow. Oh, not going to go down alone there. Very, very nice play coming out from Python to be able to at least get a little something out of that obvious death situation. Leaving does eventually go down, though, according even to the broken UI. But that does leave a boss completely open here for Calamity. It is still going to be a very nice exchange for them on that 2-for-4. Dominating the team fighting at this point. They've been very patient. They've waited until they can find their opponents out and caught them out. Rich was caught way out there. It was a nice Aegis by Jonicles to be able to at least keep him alive long enough to toss over the wall. But Lunara did have the range to be able to get those last few attacks out there to be able to take Rich from over the wall, which was was quite impressive. Good solid play there from again, I'm going to say Darain. Darain. Again, nice cap there from the side of Mortal Esports. Always a nice tip on this map. You got the boss pushing into you. You can always cap those siege giants to be able to help. And Bruno sliding right through those bushes. Going to go ahead and get started on this camp. Level 20, still a little ways away here for the side of Mortal Esports, so they're not quite in a position to be able to really invade and try and defend against this camp being taken. The question is, what is Calamity going to go ahead and do with this? It does look like they're going to go ahead and see if they can't put some pressure on the mid. They do have this night camp to support them, all 5 members here, and of course they do have that level 20 talent. Bruno looks like he's looking for an opportunity to slide in past that wall if they can get anybody out. Nice poking here, and Bruno not taking too much damage in there, avoids the stun from Muradin. Both teams just kind of jockeying back and forth at this point, and both teams avoiding a lot of damage. Those some nice poking back and forth, but ultimately Mortal Esports coming out with a favorable result there, as they were able to at least defend their keep and push Mortal Esports back despite not having that level 20. They take out the night camp and are able to push them back a little bit. However, we do see that it does look like they're going to go ahead and rotate towards this boss. Rich going to zone out, and it is going to be scouted out here by Calamity. They do see it. The question is, what can they do about it? Thrall and Rhaegar very slow on this rotation, so we are going to see Mortal Esports turning to see if they can't force a little bit of a fight here. But Lunara putting out some solid poison damage out to start that. And here comes Calamity as they are zoning them out here. They can turn around and see if they can't try to take boss off of this. Again, level 20 is not quite here. Still about half a level away for Mortal Esports. So got to be kind of rough for them to try and go ahead and compete here. Meanwhile, that top tribute, this is going to be curse point for Calamity as well. So I think at this point, Mortal Esports is just calling. They gotta go in. They gotta try and do something here. Level 20's not around, but the huge slide in there from Bruno, being able to isolate right away. That is gonna get Li Ming and the fly, the gust, that is it. Very, very nice job by Calamity. They go ahead and put the side of Mortal Esports in a position where they just felt like they couldn't win it unless they went in. Rich is actually going to make it back to the hall, but it does not matter. All 5 members here for the side of Calamity have started on this core, and they are going to go ahead and melt this thing. Heartbreaker getting a little bit low on the back end. But again, not a whole lot that Ariel and Muradin can do in this situation to actually get the defense out. They might get a kill or two, but this core is going down, and Calamity taking a very convincing win here on Cursed Hollow over Mortal Esports. Red team is victorious. So their main focus there, all game long, team fighting. You know, they did a really great job of building a team that just could dominate on a lot of those situations for team fighting over the tribute. I feel like Mortal Esports had a decent team fight team as well, but it all depended on that one pick, right? You know, they needed to get the reset for Go for the Throat. They needed to get the resets for Li Ming, and they just didn't get those picks very often. That was the big deal. Rhaegar doing a very, very solid job of keeping his team alive. A couple of those clutch Ancestrals, really, really big deal. Nice solid healing numbers, and it reflects in those healing numbers. Heartbreaker doing a really, really nice job. Let's go ahead and take a look at his build real quick. Going Colossal Totem, Feral Heart for that extra regeneration while in the Wolf form. Cleanse, really nice against Ariel and Muradin. Ancestral, of course. Going with Earth Living Enchant. We've seen this one popping out a little bit more often for Rhaegar's, as it is that chain heal that gets the additional 200 health over 5 seconds. So the extra hot there when healing a player that is under 50% health. So you got to kind of save your Qs for when people are low, but gives a lot of extra impact to that chain heal. Earthgrass Totem and Storm Shield, not a big surprise there. They were able to snowball pretty well. Once they got ahead, they just played the map, painted it their color, and like I said, at the end there, we're able to bait Mortal Esports into that last fight. But a couple solid moments there from Mortal Esports as well. They did dominate a little bit of that early game. They even got the first curse there, so nice job from them. But it was just a Calamity being able to respond in all of those situations, not getting rattled by the opponent getting the first curse. A nice solid job there by Sukami, being able to get to that bottom lane, taking out that fort, opening up that bottom lane, which ended up ultimately being the lane that they won the game through. And even during that curse, you know, just doing a nice job of responding, getting that 4-man wipe there on the mid as that first curse did start to end. A couple of the other builds, originally Calamity for Python, but then ultimately going Glass Cannon and Mirror Ball. So a little bit of a change up there in the middle of that build for Python, kind of going two directions with it. Rich with a pretty standard Muradin build, nothing too shocking there. Greymane also going Executioner for those lockdown potential, which they had with Ariel, and they had, of course, with Muradin. You can get some nice solid extra execution damage from those basic attacks when they're CC'd. Ariel going with the Righteous Assault, which is interesting, going for that extra middle damage. Energized, of course, getting that extra energy on themselves. No shock there. Splintered Spear coming out from Lunara, giving a little bit of extra lane presence. So that was interesting. Greater Spell Shield, you know, classic pick against Li Ming, but not enough to prevent that end blow up there as they were taking Python down. I thought that was pretty solid play. Abolish magic to be able to get themselves out of trouble. Bruno again going stage dive. We've seen a lot more ETCs going stage dive on big global presence maps. There were a lot of counters for Mosh Pit over on the side of Mortal Esports, so at some point it becomes an argument of why wouldn't you go stage dive? in that situation where you realistically just aren't going to get that much value out of Mosh, but you can get the global instead and the extra damage. So I think that's a solid pickup there. Mage build coming out from Falstad, as well as a very standard build coming out from Calypso, but they did a great job. So again, thank you very much for joining me, guys. Congratulations to Calamity here, winning in Division 1 here over Mortal Esports. Both teams put on a really great show for us. If you like Chair League, go ahead and hit that follow button. A lot of times I'm casting for Chair League or hosting somebody that's casting, so it's good channel here to be able to keep up with it. And I will see you guys next time.